Hey there, I want to make a video. My name is Brian, and I make videos about my 2019 Q50 Signature Edition and just my story of buying it and modding it and the fun that I'm having with it and the tuning and everything. But I want to just from the last video where I took it to the drag strip, I want to just talk about, I'm sitting here. I travel for a living. I'm a commercial photographer. I travel to different hotels across the United States. I'm contracted through a company, and they ship me all over the United States, and I go and photograph new hotels, revamped hotels, from almost every brand. There's a few brands I don't shoot for, a few. But the majority of them I photograph. So if you stayed at a hotel in the United States, the possibility of me shooting some of that the photography for the images that you see that want to make you stay at a hotel, the professional images. Some hotels still don't have professional images, but yeah. So if you've seen professional images on the website for a hotel, there is a high likelihood that I have shot those photographs. So I travel a lot, but so I'm here in Yuma, Arizona, and so my car's back at home. But right before I came here, I took it to the Texas Motorplex for test and tune night before the Demonology race event, YouTube event, and I took it out there. And my first time to a track, I have raced from on the street since I got my driver's license in 1985. And so I've, through the years, I've not dedicated my life to drag racing, but I've had a few drag races and owned a bunch of Mustangs and Camaros and Focus ST and some other, semi-quick cars. I wouldn't consider anything that I had ultra fast. And even this Q50 that I have now is an ultra fast car, but it's quick. And that's what's enjoyable about just having it because I enjoy the luxury side of it just as much as the V6 twin turbo, which is a pretty cool motor. But I just wanted to dive into and talk about kind of what because it's on my mind, about what I'm gonna do. I was really happy when I tuned my car and I saw the results with the horsepower and the torque. But as we all know, horsepower and torque on a dyno doesn't mean everything. It's a small part of it. Actually putting that power to the ground and the car making the power, from first gear to fifth gear to sixth gear, on the street is completely different than running it on a dyno. So, um, but but I'm gonna just dive in because I've had a few people, ask questions and tell me, what you know, I would like to know a lot more about what's happening with my car, but a lot of people just suggested, hey, you got to improve here and do this and do that, and do that. But I think it's first of all, it was my first time to that track, and I think it was what they call a pro tree. I don't have a lot of experience racing on a track, so it was I'd only done that three times, so I only ran my car three times. The first time was the low boost map, which was approximately 400 to 410 horsepower to the wheels, is what I was told that map is producing, and about 465, 470 on the torque. So I ran that map, and the car seemed to accept that. I may have, not had the best 60 foot. I think I got a little bit of wheel hop on that first run, a little bit, and a little bit of wheel spin. But I'm sure I could definitely, if I go back once or twice, if I go back once or twice, I could definitely get that 108 maybe up to 110 and improve on that time. But then the second and the third time is when I shifted into the higher boost on my phone through the EcuTech app. So I'm trusting that it's that takes care of it and shifts to my higher boost map, which is the 530 plus horsepower and the 512 torque. And the car is just not liking that. And I could tell the day that I got it tuned. I think it was January, early January, that the car, or late December, the car just, man, it's just not meshing with that. It just does not like that torque. I don't know if it's with the stock exhaust. I mean, there's just all kinds of variables. I could see that it's not happy. You can feel your car and it's not happy with that much torque, and putting that to the ground with the tires that I have. And I'm running the P0 Nero uh, performance summer tires. I know they have some different series in that P Nero. So they're, and what I understand, pretty good all around tires, even though they're summer rated, and they're the 245 width. So obviously those tires are not up to the duty for 512 torque and 500 to the motor. So, but I did at the track after the first run, or maybe the second run, I did, one of the other people there, I started talking and meeting some people, and he had a better tire gauge, and he was like, man, you need to drop your tires down, because they were at about 38, because they were warm, and the car requires them to be 35. So with them warm, it was about up to 38 pounds. And so he was like, man, you need to drop that down to 30. And I was like, man, I don't have an additional fuel source. I mean, not fuel source, air source, and to put air back in it, and I got to drive an hour. So we dropped them down to 32. I guess that's on the third run, because the second run I got some, what I'm anticipating, or what I'm thinking was wheel hop, when the camera starts vibrating, and you can hear it in the car. Um, so with that said, I mean, there's a lot of things that can be improved on. What I'm not happy with the performance, because the third run, and it's happened before, people may not know. A week before, I was on the road testing, and I did a run from about 20 to 140, and the car ran really, really well. And then I turned around and did it again, and the car stumbled at about 90 miles per hour, and shut down. I don't know if it went into limp mode. It drove fine after that, but it threw a bunch of codes, and they were mainly transmission codes. There was one um, boost spike, or over boost in on side A, and I immediately took it back into Joe Tech, and they tweaked it with their computer and got that taken away. So I didn't see that on this second time when I went to the test and tune. So hopefully that's fixed. But I did see all the transmission codes again, the TCM codes, the DCT, and then it said the TCM. So I think that's the traction control management, or something similar to that, or the stall converter. So the car is just not happy, and it's really kind of frustrating in that end. But I'm gonna take it back to them again. They're just so involved. They're a high end store, and they are filled with 1,000 plus 2,000 horsepower cars, and they're all in competitions. And Texas 2K is been the last 2 weeks, they've been prepping all their race cars, and they don't have time for me, which is kind of frustrating. But I gotta understand, they got customers paying 30, 40, 50, $60,000, or builds that cost $90,000, and they got to take care of those customers, versus my $1,000 Q50 tune. So I'm gonna just probably just have to wait until Texas 2K is over next week, and go in and discuss this with the owner. My car, by looking at the data logs when I got home on the computer, because I didn't have my computer, it was through my phone. Make sure I don't through my phone, and the app was data logging, but I couldn't see my monitoring of my six parameters up to a larger dial on the screen. So after I got home, I noticed, I went to the timing being pulled, and knock, and I saw knock being detected, and I saw a few degrees over 2 negative degrees of timing being pulled. So, but it wasn't during the main peak of my run, it was when I let off the throttle after a little bit of that test, hit that I did right before coming up to the line where people do the water burnout, where I went around the water and I floored it and I got a little bit of spin, but just to get the tires clean and get a feel for the traction, which I thought was acceptable. And then right after I got out of that throttle, I saw um, relatively high and knock, I guess, knock and ignition timing go hand in hand being pulled. So I don't know what all that is about, but that's got to be dealt with. And then um, and another thing which I don't usually see, but you're at the track and most people aren't aware of, when you're waiting 50 cars deep, or you're 25 into 50 cars and you're up in the line at the Texas Motor Speedway or any drag strip, and a car spreads oil, or they got to just prep the track again real quick. So you're waiting there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and the guy's lifting his arm up, say, come on, let's go. And then he says, stop. And so you get in your car, you start your engine, you think it's going to go in 10 minutes, you don't turn your engine off, the car's idling, it's stopped, it's idling, it's stopped. You got your hood up, you got your hood down, you got your helmet on, you got your helmet off. And so the car just sits there, and the temperature is just, it might have been 60 degrees out that night, which it was, but my car, from starting and stopping, hood up, was just hovering at about 200 degrees on the coolant. And I'm trying to remember, and so the heat exchanger was probably, I think it was leveled out at 135, 140, and the oil temperature was probably 190, and it wouldn't drop down even though it was a 60-degree day. And so you get up there to the run, and the heat exchangers at 140, and I think that's on the higher side, even though it's 60 degrees out. Um, and I guess more ignition timing was being pulled just sitting there. It's not like you're on the street and you're driving around, and and it's hovering at 100 degrees. Um, because the water is flowing through through the motor, and it gets up to an operating temperature. It's not like a air to air intercooler that sees the benefits of a 50 or 60 degree air blowing across it. That's the disadvantage of the water to air heat exchanger, but it'll see the benefit on a really hot day, but it doesn't see the big benefits on a cold, cooler day. So with that said, there was just a whole bunch of things that need to be worked on. And so in short, so I'll make this video a little bit quicker. I'm going to take it in to Joe Tech, and I'm gonna have to sit down with the owner, Kenny Tran, and try to get his attention. Hopefully, this week or next week, and hopefully Texas 2K will be over. So, and see how we can address these all the DCT TCM engine management codes, because they came back. I got them last week, and then I got them this week, and obviously there is a problem with the stall converter or the transmission. It's not happy. Something's going on. It doesn't like 500 plus pounds of feet torque, and it's shutting the car down. And I think that's even what happened on my second run and my third run. People were like, "That's slow." Well, the car is the computer is managing everything to protect itself. As I understand, that's what these cars do, and a lot of other cars with this new the latest 10 years with the ECU and the management and all the computers in them. So that I just think it's even though I was getting off the line and pulling and feeling some power, I think the car, as the run went on, especially in the third, it just cut the power. The revs, I think, went up. I didn't have my camera pointed towards my dash on my third run because I kind of wanted to have the view of the car next to me. So, but I think I looked at my data logs, and it didn't rev up past 6,500, even though the engine kind of made a sound that it wasn't applying the power, but it still seemed to be revving. Because we definitely don't want to rev over 7 and get it up into 75, 8,000 RPMs. That would be very bad. So obviously the car was protecting itself, and so I'm gonna take it into Joe Tech and see how we can address the codes that were thrown. We gotta address the transmission codes and the converter. What's going on with that? Because you can't put the power down if the transmission is not going to allow it. And then I want to address the engine knock because the car shouldn't have any knock. And I'm running 93 fuel, and I've used a couple different gas stations, and so 93 fuel. I mean, that could be a part of the problem if it's not up to the grade of 93. So yeah, phone calls getting me off my game. And then I'm gonna just propose to them if I need to take it into the Infiniti dealership. I don't have an exhaust. I don't have downpipes. I don't have, all these things on my car that's going to throw up red flags that this guy is a racer, and I'm not a racer. I'm a casual driver, drive it for work, and I just occasionally like to have fun and go fast when I step on the throttle. So the car is not being abused. It's just I can take it in and say the transmission's doing some quirky things. Can you put it on your computer and see if you're pulling not clear the codes that I have this time on my phone, not clear them off the car, and then hopefully they can just pull these codes and see if something's not right or if it needs to be reset or whatever they need to do to fix it to get the transmission to be working properly. So I want to ask Joe Tech if that's a smart idea, though that my car's tuned. So yeah, that's my game plan, and then I'll keep everyone in the loop so that if the few people that are following this journey that are thinking about tuning their car or just interested, we can follow along together, and I can hopefully not get discouraged and take the tune off and just try to salvage the car and drive it around. Since it's not broken, it's driving as normal. I mean, it's still got good pickup and good pull when I step on the throttle. Um, Better than, when it was 315 horsepower stock, to the wheels. So it's obviously, got close to 400 horsepower. So, hopefully I don't just have to live with that and just keep it in the low boost mode and just call racing quits and just enjoy the car for what it is, because I want to have fun with it and go future and make more videos and go to the track more. So with that said, like and subscribe if you want to follow along and help other people to see more of my videos. I'm going to be honest about my journey. It would have been easy not to make a video about the problems that I had, and just say my car's badass. It makes 500, plus torque and 500 horsepower at the motor, and it's a beast, and nobody can beat me, and I'll challenge. None of that. I just want to have fun with the car and share my experience. So, with that said, have a good night, and thanks for tuning in. And keep looking up for more videos, and I'll keep putting them online. So thanks. Bye.